These winged beings are not birds, they are angels. At this moment, they are engaged in a fierce brawl with the Tengu clan, wreaking havoc across the city. Yet, humans remain completely unaware of their existence. And so, another group emerges. They belong to a highly secretive department known as the Shinjuku Ward Nocturnal Community Relations Division. This department operates in extreme secrecy, and their recruitment methods are downright bizarre. They lure people in through deception. Today, a man has just been tricked into joining them. His name is Miyako. The moment he stepped through the door, he ran into his new co-worker Himetsuka. Though Himetsuka appears to be a beautiful woman, in reality, he is a man. He specializes in researching ancient magic and conducting various experiments on supernatural phenomena. Standing beside them is a tall man named Sakaki. He was once a host, but now he serves as the leader of this division. Together, they decide to take Miyako on a tour to familiarize him with his new workplace. Sakaki asks Miyako if he has ever seen yokai, angels, or demons before. Miyako assumes he is joking. That is until Himetsuka pulls out a spray bottle. With a light mist, a tiny, radiant fairy is suddenly choked out of thin air. The little fairy, furious at their antics, curses them under its breath before fluttering away. This spray is one of Himetsuka's inventions, an aerosol that temporarily allows humans to see supernatural beings. However, Miyako seems to possess a rare, innate talent. He can perceive these supernatural creatures without any external aid. Sakaki then gives Miyako a detailed explanation of their job. Tonight's mission is to investigate a recent surge of late-night disturbances and unexplained property damage. Their analysis suggests that the ongoing chaos is due to two winged factions fighting over territory. For now, the best solution is to set up a barrier to prevent further destruction. The tapes they use are Himetsuka's creation, designed with wind element properties, and are widely implemented across various locations. With their combined efforts, the three successfully establish the protective barrier. Despite everything he has seen tonight, Miyako remains skeptical. That is when he overhears faint whispers nearby. Following the voices, he discovers an angel and a tengu engaged in conversation. The tengu is named Taro, and the angel is called Teal. It turns out they are lovers. They are planning to elope because their love is forbidden within their respective clans. Teal is torn. She doesn't want to abandon her older sister, yet she also longs to be with Taro. Taro sincerely urges Teal to think carefully about their future, but in the very next second, three angels suddenly appear, blocking Taro's path. Leading them is Sheila, Teal's older sister. She absolutely refuses to let her sister be with Taro. She is even willing to kill him. Seeing Taro being outnumbered, his father wastes no time joining the fight. Just as tensions reach a boiling point, Sheila realizes she has been tricked. During the commotion, Taro has already whisked Teal away. The situation quickly escalates. A full-scale war between the two races is now inevitable. Sheila quickly found Teal. She ordered her to come back home, but Teal stood her ground. She refused to leave Taro's side. Furious, Sheila unleashed a barrage of feather blades at them. At that moment, Miyako finally understood. This was the true source of the recent citywide disturbances and destruction. The battle between the two factions was escalating beyond control. Neither side was willing to back down, as their strengths were evenly matched. Himetsuka initially assumed that the angels and Tengu were fighting over territory, but Miyako corrected him. He had overheard Taro and Teal's conversation. They were lovers, and this battle had nothing to do with territorial disputes. It was a fight to preserve the purity of their respective bloodlines. Before Miyako could explain further, an angel crashed directly onto him. Soon after, Sheila and Taro's father arrived at the scene. They had actually come to apologize, but Sakaki and Himetsuka couldn't understand their language. They mistook their words as a declaration of war. Without hesitation, Sakaki and Himetsuka drew their weapons, ready to fight. Tensions skyrocketed. At the critical moment, Himetsuka hurled his latest invention toward Sheila. Just then, Miyako stepped forward and shielded Sheila. It was only then that he realized Sakaki and Himetsuka couldn't comprehend the language of angels and Tengu at all. He quickly intervened, explaining to them that Sheila and Taro's father were offering an apology, and that neither faction had ever intended to harm humans. Sakaki and Himetsuka were stunned. They never expected Miyako to understand the language of both species. Shortly after, the love affair between Teal and Taro became public knowledge among their people. As the leaders of both clans debated their punishment, Miyako stepped in to plead on their behalf. He insisted that Taro and Teal were a perfect match, and he informed the angels and Tengu that in the human world, breaking up a couple's relationship was considered an immoral act. In the end, the two clan leaders decided to postpone the matter for another time. Teal was forcibly dragged away by her sister. Taro, too, received a severe scolding from his father. As he was about to leave, Taro approached Miyako and asked for his name, and he made sure to remember it. Miyako's first mission had been a resounding success. Sakaki grew increasingly curious about Miyako's identity. At that moment, an old crow tengu descended from the sky, praising Miyako's ability with the ears of sand. The so-called ability of the ears of sand allowed Miyako to understand the languages of non-human beings. The old crow tengu referred to Miyako as Saimai, which suggests that Miyako's identity is not simple. As a newcomer to the Shinjuku Ward Nocturnal Community Relations Division, Miyako had already proven himself on his first day by successfully mediating the conflict between the Tengu and the Angels. Not only had he earned recognition for his achievement, but he had also gained the ears of sand ability. His superior, Senda, took a keen interest in him, even suspecting that Miyako might be a descendant of the great Onmyoji, Abe no Saimai. Thus, Senda instructed Sakaki and Himetsuka to investigate Miyako's family background. The three of them then visited Miyako's family warehouse. To their surprise, they found a cat in the warehouse. It was a massive cat yokai, and it turned out to be an old childhood friend of Miyako, named Snowy. Snowy had been entrusted by Miyako's ancestors to guard the warehouse. Miyako's ancestors were the cat's original owners, and Miyako was the only person in nearly a century who could still see it. At that moment, Miyako deeply felt Snowy's profound loneliness, and he wished for Snowy to leave the warehouse and live freely. Snowy was overjoyed and hugged him tightly. Later that evening, while on a mission, the three of them encountered a massive nine-headed bird, and standing atop its back was a person. Meanwhile, another case presented itself. In a nearby mountain, they discovered numerous weasel yokai with their tails severed. The tails were called living iron fresh metal with many practical uses, but despite this, they decided to continue their search for the enormous nine-headed bird. Their investigation led them to discover that one of the bird's heads was bleeding, and its blood had an unusual effect on supernatural creatures, making them excited and agitated. This had led to a rapid increase in similar incidents. At that moment, Miyako noticed three little fairies talking nearby. They were complaining about suddenly losing their ability to fly, as a mysterious person riding the nine-headed bird had taken the scales from their wings. In addition, they received news that someone had stolen the Zashiki Warashi's hair. Given these interconnected incidents, it seemed likely that all these acts were committed by the same person. As the three continued their investigation, they encountered a strange, glowing aperture. At that moment, Himetsuka received a call from Senda, who reported that the mysterious figure had also stolen mermaid scales from a local shop. Sakaki and Miyako, still trapped, felt like they were inside a mountain. Suddenly, the mysterious figure appeared before them. He greeted Miyako with a chilling, "Long time no see, Saimai." It was clear that the mysterious person had mistaken Miyako for Saimai. Then, the great door in the distance slowly creaked open, and a group of zombies emerged. The mysterious figure gleefully told Miyako, "This is to celebrate our reunion," and with a sinister smile, he added, "I've prepared a gift for you." At this moment, Miyako realized that the mysterious figure had used mermaid scales, weasel tails, fairy wing scales, and Zashiki Warashi hair to activate an ancient ritual on the centuries-old grave, awakening the dormant zombie horde. Senda had also dispatched elite personnel from other departments to provide assistance. Himetsuka eagerly explained the dire situation to everyone, but in his haste, he accidentally stepped on a crucial point of the ritual, immediately being teleported to face Sakaki and Miyako. The mysterious figure, unconcerned, remarked that it didn't matter how many people arrived. He then declared that the game was just beginning. The zombies that had been awakened began to rise from the earth and roam across the mountain. They were completely unaffected by the weapons Himetsuka had invented. The situation grew increasingly dire. Luckily, the zombies moved relatively slowly. The team quickly set up a barrier. They sealed off the entire mountain to prevent the horde from descending. This was done to protect the human world from danger. Seeing the chaos unfold, the mysterious figure's mood brightened. He smugly turned to Miyako and asked, "Are you angry, Saimai?" Miyako, hearing the mysterious figure continually refer to him as Saimai, fumed and vehemently denied being Saimai. Upon realizing Miyako wasn't Saimai, the mysterious figure decided to kill him immediately. He had prepared this whole game for Saimai, and it was all in vain now. What irritated him further was that Miyako looked exactly like Saimai. Hearing this, Miyako immediately declared that he was Saimai. He hoped that by admitting it, the mysterious figure would spare his life. However, the mysterious figure, even more excited, declared, "Let's all play a game with the zombies." No sooner had he spoken than a horde of zombies poured in. They needed to find and destroy the critical point of the ritual, which was the main source of energy controlling the zombies. Ahead, they discovered a mass of fine threads, and Himetsuka instantly recognized them. These threads were the energy conduits of Zashiki Warashi hair. Following the threads, they arrived at their destination, where they were shocked to find that the threads were coming out of the mouths of 4 girls. Just then, the mysterious figure reappeared and informed them that the only way to break the ritual was to kill these 4 girls. He posed a difficult question to Miyako. Should he sacrifice the few to save the many? Miyako, however, resolutely stated that he would save them all. Seeing his naive determination, the mysterious figure used his power to force the girls to attack. Sakaki and Himetsuka were immediately bound, and the zombies were moments away from breaching the mountain's defenses. Miyako had little time left. Looking at Miyako's despairing expression, the mysterious figure admitted that he didn't want things to go this way. He explained that he had been waiting for Saimai for centuries, but when they finally met, Saimai ignored him. Even forgetting his name, Miyako wanted to tell him that he wasn't Saimai, but feared enraging him further. At that moment, the mysterious figure told Miyako that if he simply called his name, he would spare everyone. Miyako's mind raced, and he recalled the stories his grandfather had told him about the Amayoji Saimai driving away various yokai. But in those tales, Saimai had befriended a strange figure and named him Amber. Looking at the mysterious figure's golden eyes, Miyako immediately recalled the name Amber. It was a correct guess. The ritual lost its power instantly, and the zombie horde vanished. At that moment, Amber was overjoyed, almost childlike, and he revealed a secret about himself. He also went by the name Old Coyote. He was an Aztec god of music and dance, but he was also a trickster god who created chaos. With the crisis now averted, Miyako solemnly told Amber, "I am not Saimai," but in Amber's eyes, he was Saimai. This mysterious woman was none other than Pandora, the first woman ever created in Greek mythology. She held a magic box, from which she inadvertently released all the evils of the world. Now, she tirelessly strives to correct her mistake. In a building's elevator, people continuously disappear mysteriously, only to reappear somewhere else. Their bodies seem unchanged, but the memories of the time they were missing are completely blank. The Shinjuku Ward Nocturnal Community Relations Division immediately intervenes to investigate. Miyako conducted an interview with one of the affected individuals, and was shocked to discover that the person was his ex-girlfriend, Chloe. Chloe only remembered instantly being transported from one place to another, but had no memory of anything else. During the conversation, Sakaki sensed something strange. Chloe was supposed to get married, but her fiancé suddenly broke off the engagement. Yet, she appeared completely unaffected, as if she had forgotten the sorrow. This struck Miyako as highly abnormal, especially because Chloe was a woman very sensitive to emotions. So, Miyako called in Himetsuka and Sakaki to help investigate the building. The 3 decided to split up. Sakaki and Miyako entered the elevator, choosing to go to the highest floor. When the elevator arrived at the top, the 2 were stunned. Before them lay a completely new world, bathed in a crimson glow. Both of them were horrified, their faces pale. Miyako frantically pressed the elevator buttons, trying to return, but the elevator remained unmoving. Suddenly, a mysterious woman lunged at Sakaki and Miyako, whispering strange words to them. After a while, the woman, disappointed, was about to leave, but she unexpectedly realized that Miyako could understand her words. Her interest piqued. She decided to have a deeper conversation with him, pulling him out of the elevator. When Sakaki awoke again, he found himself back on the first floor, but surprisingly, he hadn't lost his memory. He remembered everything clearly. Meanwhile, the mysterious woman explained to Miyako, that she was looking for the things that flew out of Pandora's box. These things entered human bodies, and she was using the building's elevator to sift through humanity. If she found someone with the things she needed, she would take them, then send the person back to where they wanted to go. The woman also told Miyako that Sakaki had a strong sense of loss, which resembled the things she sought. That was why he had been mistakenly sent there. She also warned Miyako not to open Pandora's box, as it once contained many evils. She once accidentally opened it, causing everything inside to fly out and scatter across the... That was why she was using this method to retrieve them. At that moment, a woman was sent to them, carrying the exact thing the mysterious woman sought. The woman, in turn, told her, "I'll take your feelings of heartbreak." Miyako watched this unfold, and realized that Chloe had likely been deprived of her feelings of heartbreak in the same way. The mysterious woman then declared that she had already collected all the heartbreaks, and now intended to head to Europe to collect feelings of jealousy. It was clear now, she was behind the recent string of incidents. Miyako asked if she would stop. The woman calmly replied, "No one can stop me from taking what I want." Miyako, intimidated by her powerful presence, felt it would be best to leave for now. The mysterious woman found him to be highly aware, and granted him the privilege of coming here at any time, as long as Miyako wished to come in his heart. No matter which path he took, he would be transported here. Before leaving, the woman revealed her name, Pandora,